Okay, so if I'm honest, I'm feeling a little like the very first time I ever put my hands on a computer, scared to touch things, scared to click on anything in case I absolutely ruin and break the whole thing. I am in the my courses of the blendedonlearning.com site. And because I completed the introduction in week one of our Managing a Moodle site course, I have been given access to site administration. And that is what we're going to look at today, hoping that I don't do any damage, because otherwise Dr. Nelly will be very cross with me. And here we're in site administration, and this is what we see. There's a list of, I'll just close that, a list of elements which are now accessible to us, from competencies down to the site home. And obviously, everything that's done in here will affect all the courses held on this particular Moodle site. Now, the only thing, I've already had a look at it, and the only thing that I've added temporarily, just so that I could understand what it was about, was in fact this very first voice, competencies. Let's just have a little quick look, competency frameworks. So what we're talking about, and I think this is the best tab to look at, because it's the one that I added something to. I haven't obviously connected it to anybody's course, and it can be deleted. It was just to get an idea of how it worked. Now, as I'm an English language teacher, one of the frameworks that we use for measuring competencies is the CEFR framework. And I found on the internet an Excel, or not, a CVS form of these competencies, and it's pretty basic. It hasn't got anything particularly detailed on it, but it does the trick. It allows me to, let's just have a quick look at it. It allowed me to upload something so that I could see what it looked like. And so the CEFR, which basically pins down, defines the various levels of language learning, from the very basic A1 to the advanced C2. If I click on each one, it gives a little explanation of what this level corresponds to. So it's basic user, beginner. There's a possibility of cross-referencing with other competencies, but that is beyond me for the moment. If we look at A2, we'll see basic user, elementary. In reality, it's a little more difficult than A1. B1 is considered an independent user, you're a threshold level, and so on, up to C2. A proficient user, so a high level user of English or French, or because it's the European framework for languages, so it corresponds to all the European languages, at least, possibly all the other ones. That's something I don't actually know. So if we go back to site administration, what this basically means is that I can migrate, bring in, or move frameworks from one set of courses to another, I guess. I can import them like I did today. I can export them if I need to keep them safe somewhere, I guess. Here is where I set them up. And there's one final voice, which is the learning plan templates. And again, I did a mock-up, very basic, of an A1, so that's the beginner level learning plan, and the students can see this. If I did it properly, I've not added competencies yet at all. I've called it the CEFR A1 learning plan, And the little description is, this is an overview of your introduction module and week 1. And because I don't want to tamper with this too much in case I do break things, I haven't linked it to any, but I've got no courses in there to link it to anyway. So in theory, this would need to be bulked out with very sort of precise details about what each competency actually means and the kind of activities that would lead to students achieving those skills. So as it says here, no courses are linked to this competency. That's for the moment, that is fine. That was just to get an idea. So the learning plan is basically an overview that the student has, which explains to them exactly what skills will be learned, because your course material could be titled in a way that it's obvious to you what's going on, but it might not be obvious to the student what they're going to learn. So my first lesson could be around town, and I could be talking about the words and expressions and the grammar needed to talk about and describe a village, a town, a city, but that doesn't explain what competencies are being learned. The competencies will break it down much more in a teacher fashion, in a more academic way, and will state things like the verb to be in the present tense, the linguistic structure there are, some and any, 20 key words, vocabulary words for speaking about a town, and so on and so forth. And then it could be things like the ability, because if you want to speak in a more sort of abstract sense, it could be the ability to describe in simple language your average town. By the end of the lesson, they will be able to write a short paragraph of 200 words, 250 words, which describe the town that they live in. That would be what you might want to put in the learning plan, and that allows the student to know, with much more clarity, exactly what skills they're going to be learning. So let's go back to general, which is where we were. I'm not going to spend too much time on things like badges, H5P certificates, and so on, because if you did the previous Moodle MOOC courses, you will have covered these already. Although this time round, anything the site administrator does here, obviously, will set it up for all the courses contained on this server. Same thing with language and appearance. Obviously, we're going to standardize the look, the way the courses are structured, the fact that all the courses will have learning plans, for example. All the courses will have similar badges. They will be standardized in some way. For standardization's sake, number one, but also, I guess aesthetically, you would want things to perhaps look, have the same look throughout. I'm just going to open up Site Home. I'm not going to touch anything here. The Site Home is the general overview with the name of the site, an abbreviation for the name of the site, and a quick description of it, and then there would be other things like lists of courses and so on. But that, for the moment, it's a little early to look at examples of those things because there are no courses on here yet. If we go back up to the menu, we click on Users. Again, if you've done Moodle MOOC courses before, you'll know how to add users, you'll know how to create cohorts, and so on. So this time, when we do those things, for example, add a new user, there we go. We're manually adding in users one by one. This time, the user or the cohort of users will be site-wide. It will regard the entire site. Here you get a chance to set policies, which are valid for the entire site, and user agreements. There's nothing set up here, but it is a possibility, especially if you had a high number of courses with a high number of students. You might want to specify how things are expected to run. Courses, and here are courses. Here we'll have the overview again. Obviously, if I click here in theory, they're the ones that Nelly has set up: manager training, Moodle teacher training, and privacy. But we can. This is where we will get the full list of all the courses created on this site. You can categorize them, you can add new courses, you can restore courses which you had previously set up, implemented, backed up and then removed. You can bring them back if you want, so you're not starting from scratch. There are default settings. So again, we're back to the notion of standardization. This, I guess, is where a lot of it would become a very personal choice here for the administrator. If this was my own site, I might want something like 90% standardization. So say I had a whole bunch of courses and I had other teachers teaching the courses on my site. I might want a lot of things done in exactly the same way. And here I would, for example, how activities to be considered as completed. I might want to set that up so that it's the same right across all the other courses, and then allow teachers to personalise, to alter, to make exceptions as required. So those would be things I would have to think about carefully. Default settings, activity chooser, you've got recommended activities there. So these are obviously highlighted in the course so that they are brought to the learner's attention. They must be placed, I guess, somewhere obvious. They're not obligatory but recommended, or the ones that you would want them to focus on. And backup. This is something that I should have done. I created a course not quite finished on Nelly's site a couple of years back. Never backed it up and lost everything. Well, that has a lesson, I think, for us all. Do not lose your work. Grades, grade books, grade settings. These are things that, as I keep repeating, if we've already done these Moodle MOOC courses, we know how to do them for specific courses. This time, what we're doing is creating settings which are valid across all the courses in the site. Here, under plugins, is where we get to choose which plugins to add in. And here we get to standardize our reports, or even create custom reports. Nothing to display here. Let's pretend we're doing a new report. We can give it a name, indicate the source that the report comes from. We can add in tags, save it, and that would be our kind of template thing for it. And I think that's pretty much it. And so fingers crossed, I've done no damage. I don't think I clicked anything that will have permanently changed Nelly's site. If I have, my apologies, Nelly. My apologies. But I think most of that was the key information that we were supposed to look at. So hopefully that's clear. See you all soon.